lane bullies, such as both of the ones that I did mention. Maokai also open. I'm feeling like here BLG might be... Oh, I was about to say might leave Maokai open to give it to the hands of Wei. Try to play something more aggro into it, but it's not going to be the case. Ball facilitating junglers will be taken away from Wei's hands. And is this going to be a Rumble B1? Does BLG still value that champion that highly?
I'm really curious if we're just going to go with any of the big meta picks here. First and foremost, looking at the prio mid. Oh, it is just going to be the Lucian for BLG. So if it ain't a little broke, don't fix it, I guess. It's the double lock-in of the Rumble and the Ezreal. The Rumble was something that BLG banned away last time around, too.
Yeah, and Deokdam is a very known Ezreal player as well. One of the most prominent AD carries in the current meta. Extremely safe. Saying extremely safe, Elk did not have a very safe early game last game. But that's on him, BLG. Now, they're looking for the jungler. Wei has been favoring the likes of Lilia in terms of what AP or carry jungler he wants to play. It has been one of his more prominent carries in the jungle. And Bin right here could be locking. He is going to lock in them. I mean, I guess, sure, it's Bin.
So there is some flexibility. I do feel like the Rumble is okay into the top lane matchup right now, but I mean, Life has been known to pull out the Rumble support. Don't know if we're necessarily going to get that here, as we do have the double poke marksman that we have been seeing pulled together so many times here recently in the Ezreal and the Corki. FPX going to be backing up a ton of damage, but they need setup now. They need to find engage. They need to find lockdown to make sure that this damage can stick.
Talking about damage and sticking to targets, Poppy. Life's going to get that one banned away from him, but there's other prominent supports right now that can engage fights, like Alistar, like Nautilus, like Rel. All of those are still up and available in the pool. You also have the likes of Brom if you want to go again with something more peeling versus BLG, but then again, you're sort of inviting BLG to make the plays onto you, which is definitely not a very clever idea, knowing how BLG are so good at team fighting and finding angles onto you. Let's see what the last ban will be here. Last time it was that Alistar banned away. This time it's going to be the Kindred and the Poppy. They were a big problem.
Yeah,
so right
they
here,
were the
you're
good
opening.
Parts.
Yeah.
Love to see a little bit of that focus towards the Wonder Star carry jungler of FPX, but it's going to need to be a holistic team effort for him and for FPX to find a win here. Maybe looking to try to get a little bit more of that in-between carry style to make sure that Deokdam and Care can be set up for success. It is going to be the Lee Sin.
We're getting some vintage MilkyWay. By vintage, I mean spring. Yeah, it was literally like earlier this year. It's not that much vintage yet. However,
Can't be much
it's more of a
him.
playmaker in the early game. I love this. I feel like FPX bringing chaos onto the Rift worked for them versus BLG in that game number 1. However, right here, I'm assuming a Rakan or a Nautilus will be taken onto On's hands to facilitate for that Kai'Sa. Getting some access into the backline, getting some CC. Which one of the two is it going to be? A lot of squishy targets, so I would assume that both can be extremely viable right here.
Yeah, I think as much CC chaining you can do with those plasma stacks, I think is really, really good. They're going to go with the Rel, so you get multi-stacks of the plasma when the combo comes off. Really like that for BLG and On specifically. I think we saw how much activity we got from both supports
Mazel.
in that game number 1. I'm going to see it
Hear
continue.
me out.
The pipe?
Blitz crank.
Oh, okay. I could see it. I could also see the Rumble go in support.
Wait a minute.
I mean, like we said, Life has played it. It is something he's willing to do, and especially against the Rel, who doesn't have really a lot of exit strategy once you go in, can be cooking in that bot lane.
Yeah, and absolutely do not mind ZDZ onto K'Sante. He's one of his best champions to date, and he's been able to actually carry games with the K'Sante, even after all those waves of nerfs that happened under this K'Sante, and we've landed in this iteration right here. However, I will say this time with a little bit more confidence than the Poppy, there is not a lot of setup coming in from Life. This is a kill lane. They're going down the bot lane with the intention to set Elk and On the back foot, and this time around they are going to need the setup from the jungle. MilkyWay is going to have to play a huge part in that early game for FPX.
I also think the mid lane needs to be a little bit more active, maybe a little bit more present. But yeah, it's alive, I would say, because last time around definitely weren't the main shots of the game itself. But you also have to remember the big story coming into this one. If BLG do take a 2-0, they will take first place and go into the playoffs as that first seed. FPX have a possibility of doing something incredible and stopping their huge slump to finish out the regular season. And BLG have not been known to be a clean team. They have not had a clean 2-0 since week 3 of the Rumble stage. We'll see if FPX can regain some of their confidence, can pick themselves back up after being shattered in that game number 1. And if BLG are going to be the ones to take a 2-0 victory tonight. Let's head to game number 2 of FPX versus Bilibili. Let's see, the crowd is full there in Shanghai. I love to see it. Got everybody there for the last day of the Rumble stage. As we get into it, it's still Judgment Day for MilkyWay. And we're going to have to find out what he can do against Wei, who's had some big consistencies for BLG since coming into the roster.
He absolutely has. And MilkyWay, he's one of his champions that made him pop off over in spring, that made him known to people that didn't know who that chocolate bar of the LPL was. And coming into this one with that listen, we need to see a little bit more activity towards those early stages of the game. I think you highlighted it very well as well. We talked a lot about how the support jungle meta has been very mid-centric, playing around that mid lane, bleeding into objectives has been. He's going to channel his inner the Shy, trying to force the jungler level 1 out of his jungle. However, that's going to slow down MilkyWay, but ZDZ is going to take some control off that top side of the map. So let's see if Bin, with these shenanigans in the jungle, is actually not going to lose much. ZDZ is going to keep the lane pretty neutral.
And I do like to see both junglers starting up top side, because I think there can be some room for some big advantages on bot side to lead to some of those objective controls and things like that, especially leading to On and Life getting out of the lane. But they will both be pathing down that way, just like in game number 1. So we'll see if that pathing leads to some of that aggressiveness. But honestly, I also got to throw a little bit more of that spotlight onto Wei himself, because it's been a big difference since he came onto BLG. A lot of that direction that we knew from him on RNG, that legacy RNG jungler that kind of stayed over after everybody had left, and Xioalaohu, more importantly, one of the big directionary tools of RNG left. He gained a lot of experience in leading a team in that fashion. So it's been really nice to see him utilize that on BLG.
It absolutely shows here as well on BLG. A lot of the activity in this early game comes from Wei, forces On to move towards the top side of the map as well. This is going to be a cannon miss right here from Bin. Just about gets it. Now, I was very worried with the pathing and Bin delaying MilkyWay on his first clear towards the top side of the map, because I was expecting Wei could very easily sprint through mid, get an invade onto MilkyWay. However, the fact that Deokdam and Life are playing such an oppressive early game bot lane, it's not very easy for Wei to try and find an invade right here, because that bot lane from FPX would very easily dip into the river and back up their jungler Knight. Looking. Just a few trades.
Dog's got a little bit of a bite. They end up trading care out. We'll have to TP back to lane. Might see what that priority gives us here, but it does look like Wei said he didn't want the smoke on bot side. Is not even going to be contesting for that side of the map, and go towards this top side to get the trade of Scuttles.
Yeah, I feel like this is the only one scary lane from FPX that you definitely do not want to be getting anywhere near. And honestly, with the performance that they had in game number 1, they're overall the scariest lane that I've seen FPX had in quite a while, if you exclude performances like ZDZ on that Twisted Fade when he's going absolutely godlike. Right now, of course, on the Cassante, not going to be as much. Ooh! Just about gets the reset. Ooh, MilkyWay's looking bot lane.
That would have been a big stop of the back there, but not going to be the case. Now Deokdam going for it with the Arcane Jet. Doesn't have mana. They might get to kill the burn. Is it going to be enough? One more tick, and it is! That's first blood for FPX and first blood for Life.
Deokdam and Life have been bullying Elkan on a straight up 2 versus 2, 2 games in a row. And I feel like a lot of the criticism on BLG when it comes to their happy, fun games has come through that bot lane. I love the underestimation and the overcommitment to these plays. On stays too far forward for a little bit longer than he should. Ends up being capitalized on, and now ZDZ in trouble, but MilkyWay's on his way.
I do like that MilkyWay has foregone a lot of his clear just to try to get up here fast enough. Is it going to be fast enough, though? Way getting hit by the turret. Ben is looking for it, but here comes MilkyWay. He's going to get the flash out immediately. Didn't hit the Sonic Wave, so the 2v2 will quell down a little bit. There is on the way, and MilkyWay is going to walk right into him over here, but in the end, On will continue moving away, and we did see MilkyWay start falling a bit behind in the jungle clear speed, and it's not going to get any easier from here on out. Way is going to get a huge tempo advantage with the Faded Ashes here completed too.
So far, he has been, let's say, awarding Lee Sin, but that is double flashes gone from Bin and Way, and ZDZ did not lose anything in the exchange. Life now, he's looking mid, doesn't have the flash.
He's got the wraparound. On and Knight stepping up here. Way is around the corner now. Going to come in with the slow. Life doesn't have a health bar to deal with, and Knight is going to claim that one. We also got level 6 completed from him. Trying to be out of mana, though, so a little bit difficult to follow up on that one. And Care and MilkyWay do make it out, but it's the trade back, and a kill goes to Bilibili.
Again, there is no easy setup for FPX. There's no level 6 onto Lee Sin. There's no carpet coming in from Life. Life pulls in the flank, but he's flashless, and he's very squishy because he's just a support. A little bit questionable right there for FPX. Again, overcommit to a play, trying to put some pressure on the map. This frees up a little bit that bot lane, and especially Elk, try and farm. Again, Kai'Sa very, very strong, especially if you leave her on a solo 1v1 versus the Ezreal later on, especially after level 6. Can deal with the Ezreal pretty quickly. Pretty good counter to that champion as well. So the later those games go, this particular game goes, the better it will be for Elk, especially when he reaches those 3 items. Yeah. Where Kai'Sa spikes. And so far, FPX have been looking around. They've had a successful bot lane kill. However, I'm staying very hopeful right here from BLG because they have stabilized the map.
I do like that FPX are leaning on their bot lane pressure to get this dragon in terms of trading those neutral objectives. They did end up giving those 3 grubs over to BLG, so that'll be something they have to deal with on that next spawn in about 4 minutes or so. But I think utilizing the strength on bot side is the way forward for FPX if they can keep playing around this and make sure that life is relevant. Because I think the big conversation is going to become, how do these pieces work in a 5-on-5? And they are going to be looking at single target damage a lot of the time. And BLG's strength of execution is just easier, it feels like, in those 5-on-5s. And
this is why it's been a question mark for me coming into this series, seeing how FPX are making it hard for themselves. The ease of execution is obviously not there. And even though Life and Deokdam have gotten the upper hand, again, there is no easy setup. There's a lot of self-agency that's going to be going through those team fights. And it comes down to FPX performing in these team fights to their own discretion on what is best. However, doing that versus BLG, that are known to be the best team fighters in the LPL, is going to be a very tough task.
And I'm just terrified because I'm watching these numbers for Way get bigger and bigger over MilkyWay's, and then seeing Way in MilkyWay's side of the jungle as well. Not going to go too much further than taking the Krugs up here, but he's hovering over ZDZ. They will get vision on him, so at least MilkyWay can play around that factor a little bit more. But there's some definite aggressive vision from BLG to keep Way in the upper hand of the clear speed. Now they're looking at topside.
Yeah, ZDZ has already popped some pots. He'll pop the second one right now as well. Does have a cookie as well. Does have the ult.
Oh, the Lilting Lullaby is going to be enough. The huge Q3. Ben's going down in a 1v2. ZDZ stands strong.
And we said at the beginning, a lot of the key factors to FPX's victories has been that top lane. It has been ZDZ carrying them on things like the Twisted Fate and his K'Sante. He is known for that jumping up the tops of the map. Way has been showing tendencies to play towards being previous teammates. They've got titles together. They've tried it before, lost both their flashes. They're trying it again. Now that ZDZ is level 6 with flash up and they lose their life. ZDZ has been set up for success in this game. Well, by himself, I guess.
The amount of solo kills ZDZ has picked up is insane to me. This guy just knows how to find it and knows how to turn it on when it matters most.
Hey, he's not looking for them. They're coming at him.
They're coming to him. Yeah, they're delivered on a silver platter. But this is really tough to watch for BLG. They just weren't able to find it in the last second dodge Q3 there. Really nice.
I love how he uses the ultimate during the sleep to try and pressure further onto B and keep him under tower range. That was some great stuff from ZDZ right there. Again, one of his main champions, one that he has carried multiple games on. So being able to get ahead onto this K'Sante, we're coming back to that self-agency when we're talking about the team fights. K'Sante, one of the strongest champions at having that self-agency, choosing his own targets and being able to change the course of a team fight. And ZDZ right here has been starting to get all the tools available to him. You usually fall behind into the Renekton matchup, and he did. However, now he's about 100 gold ahead, which means being even in this matchup is great for you.
You'll take that all day long, honestly. MilkyWay lacking a little bit on the proactivity, is not going to slouch from that now, as we have about 20 seconds till the grubs, and BLG want to take these grubs to get all 6.
I'm not going to lie to you, seeing as MilkyWay has not necessarily dipped his toes into any team fight in water, skirmish in water yet, onto that Lee Sin, makes me a little bit wary going into that late game as Gary's going to...
he overestimated himself. He did that really cool outplay with the Valkyrie. He's like, I can take this guy, and ends up having to burn his flash. Meanwhile, we're going to the fight here in front of the grubs. Way is already going down. What auto there from Deokdam. Life is running away, but they've already traded MilkyWay back, and now BLG in strength of numbers with a double kill tonight are going to keep presence around mid lane.
Oh, and I did not have a great game in the previous one. 3-0 now, 1.2k up on Care. Grabbing those 3 kills right there, coming back with an item already. You see the Leandra has been completed for the Lilia as well. This is going to be a very strong mid-jungle duo coming in from the set of BLG. And again, it's starting to get a bit worrying. MilkyWay, that was the first skirmish or iteration of that he has gotten himself in and instantly ends up dying. And it gets a little bit scary because we don't necessarily see Lee Sin a lot lately.
Yeah.
And in this particular instance, he has to have the setup for himself too. So it becomes a little bit harder to execute. We'll see if MilkyWay, well, if anyone, MilkyWay can definitely pull it off, made his name onto this Lee Sin as well. However, now he's going to watch those Void Grubs go over to the set of BLG.
Yeah, big thing for BLG is they have Leandries for Way as the completion comes through. ZDZ all by himself. Going to try to all out to get to the rest of the team. Does have K'Sante mobility, although BLG don't want to let him just walk out. He'll go down to Way. There's a TP coming in, though, from FPX to try to fight back, but they've already lost too many bodies. Deokdam and MilkyWay, they're running away. MilkyWay has no impact whatsoever. Going to flash, going to try to go on to Elk, maybe. Can't follow it up. Deokdam, he's just in the back of the pit. His teammates are there. Does end up getting the flash over the wall in the end. And FPX, they are bloody as they walk away from that one.
Oh, BLG are looking confident here, walking up the river, full manning ZDZ. If the 2v1 didn't work twice, just bring 2 more members and you're guaranteed to make it work. They take down ZDZ, take down a lot of that pressure from the K'Sante in those fights. Knight picks up yet another kill. 2,000 gold in the lead, only 12 minutes in. Kraken Slayer already completed. You know you're most likely going to be playing in the face of that K'Sante. Just loving the build right here as well. Not going towards anything like the Shiv or the Blade of the Ruin King. And as you can see, MilkyWay tries to find his way in, gets engaged by On, tries to get a kick. He will onto the Lilia, but he'll end up trading his life for enemy junglers. And then Life, again, not so much agency onto this Rumble. Once you get that wombo combo, you kind of become a standing ward right there. ZDZ also walks up to about 4 members of BLG.
And that's been consistent for FPX so far this series. Is they look so good. There's so many good moments, and there's a little bit of a lapse. And speaking of a lapse, maybe they are being found out here as Equalizer comes down, lilting Lullaby into a death for life again. And BLG, they are chasing them. ZDZ gets a huge combo. Big Q3, but it's not going to matter because you just served yourself up right into the mouth of BLG. And that's another big play by Knight and a triple kill for the golden left hand.
7-0-1, almost 3,000 gold up on Care. Care hasn't even been dying this game. He's zeros. He's trying to farm up to get his Trinity Force, and he's just not allowed. FPX getting themselves in fights. But when you're around Knight, when he's that far ahead of the curve right now, it's so difficult to find around him. And BLG, do all they said they needed to get that first spot. Well, They're well on their way to get that. They grabbed that first game, which looked a little bit dodgy. This one, a lot more decisive. They've got the agency, they've got the engage. It's much easier to exit. You see champion, you engage champion. You leverage the fact that Knight is so far ahead in terms of gold and damage as well. And even though ZDZ... Hey, Mazel, if that play was done last year, I could see the quadra kill. I swear to you, I could see the quarter kill.
If Deokdam had True Shot Barrage there, I think that that makes a big difference. He used it like right before that. But in the end, or at least the damage not being there yet because he's not on the big item spikes here. So BLG, they are moving out pretty confidently. There is the Rift Tail that got started, it looked like, by FPX, but not in the end going to be completed. Care in the back of the pit, while Bin is taking a side lane turret here, so they'll be able to get that one down, and that will be first turret of the game, so even more gold to BLG. Who find themselves 5,000 up. Oh, Care, you can't walk that way, man! You're just a little pumper! As Knight takes him down. Maybe Knight doesn't like dogs, he's more of a cat person, as Rift Tail does go over the way of BLG because of that.
Do you know how confident BLG is? Confident is so... BLG is so confident that they're willingly fighting this 4 versus 5. Bin does not have TP.
Oh my
he does not have ultimate. He doesn't have any of those. They're just willingly walking into a 4 versus 5 because they've got a mid laner that counts for 3 champions right now. Almost has completed his second item as well. He's getting all that pressure towards the side lane. Level 12, the highest on the Rift. He's 5 levels up on enemy support. Knight. Absolute incredible performance right here. Not so seen in game number 1. However, he's making his presence known in game number 2.
He absolutely is. And this lead is going to be making its name known to FPX. He's going. Elk is going for the play of Deokdam. Almost dies in the end, though. Deokdam not a slouch with the Trinity Force. The biggest thing here, though, is BLG. They needed a 2-0, and they've come out and handled business so far. They got to clean this one up here, though, and finish it off as Elk almost makes it another death going over. But it is a situation where BLG are in the forward hand. They have a composition that plays towards that, and the fact that they're all feeling confident means that FPX are definitely on the back foot, and they're going to continue to be. As life takes another death, and you have to question the Rumble pick at this point because Deokdam goes down 2. And that's going to be 10 kills, I believe, tonight, who has just gone good. 11 kills, rather. And it is 11-0-1 for this guy, and FPX are falling apart. The wings have been clipped. The feathers are off the bird, and BLG are on it.
This is not fair. This guy has almost 2.5 items. Hey, components of Trinity Force in his inventory. Oh boy, I feel like for BLG, this game is as good as done, knowing how they're so good at capitalizing through these victories. The small victory, well, I'm calling them small victories. This guy's 4,500 gold up 17 minutes in. I don't know if that's a small victory. It looks like a big victory to me. Knight putting such a clinic here, and knowing how FPX has not got very easy ways of trying to find picks right here. It's going to have to be like one of MilkyWay's flashy kicks, but he has been spotted, and that Renekton is 3 levels up.
It's just so difficult. You don't have an entrance if you're behind in this case, and this is a track record we've seen from FPX is MilkyWay when behind can't be the engine to make the Phoenix go, as now the Rift Herald play in mid lane. Odd's just going to go for the kills as they know that life can't get away time and time again. He will burn his flash, almost half his health gone too. And another charge is going to come through, though. FPX are here enforced to try to defend this one, as they're going to get way over there. He's going to go golden, though, and on Care, maybe coming down on the flank. Way's going low, trying to pop the lilting lullaby. Does come through. Care has separated BLG a bit, and they capitalize on Way under the turret.
Very nice play right there from ZDZ. The second they see Way get into that Rift Herald on.
Oh, Knight is stepping up, though. Calling to the face. There's a kickback. They got him. No, it's not enough. He dashes away. MilkyWay's gone. Now Care can't clean him up either. You cannot come for the king if you're gonna miss. And Knight has made his name known. It's a triple kill for Elk, and it's a massive extinction level event for the Phoenix.
FPX, one last-ditch effort to try and capitalize on Knight. 700 gold bounty on his head. If you start taking these bounties, maybe somehow you can bounce back. Feed that money onto your Ezreal. Deokdam is a monster on that champion. It's not quite going to be enough. MilkyWay finds a pretty good kick onto Knight. Knight has already used his E right there. So great kick right there from MilkyWay to push him towards his team. But Care, he has two components of Trinity Force and misses the Q. Oh no.
Elk is a beast for this one. He just killer instinct into 3 people. Oh my goodness. If this isn't quintessential BLG when they're feeling themselves, I don't know what is. They are thriving. And this has been, yes, a trudging 3 games a lot of the time for them in all of their series except for the one against LGD, but it is still wins that end up coming out. It's still this absolute mechanical dominance that we get to see from BLG.
I'll tell you the secret of BLG. You know how a lot of teams are like, guys, we need to loosen up. We need to play a little bit more freely like we play in scrims when there's not much pressure. There is pressure here on live because he's all alone.
Just look away.
All right, don't look ball. Don't look ball. I'll continue what I was saying.
I don't know if you can look anywhere. Go ahead and put the blindfold on right now for FPX because you are going down. Double kill goes back over tonight, and they're chasing under turret. Oh my God, this is despicable. They are just chasing them under turret. They're killing them, and another triple kill goes tonight. That golden left hand is oh so strong.
This guy loaded up in game number 2, and he's almost throwing a 20 bomb. 20 minutes into the game, 16 kills onto this Lucian. Again, the importance of a B1. That was a B1 Lucian. That was priority towards Knight getting this champion. And this champion he did get, absolutely demolishing the entire Rift. Now, they do have the Baron, so it should be a pretty clean way to wrap this one up. But yeah, don't look at the screens right now. Just listen to the story, right? So BLG have been getting most of their wins by having 3 games. So they will throw a happy game, what we call it. So as their fun phase, their happy plays. They'll lose one, fair. But then they'll end up closing out the series nonetheless. Now, a lot of pros and a lot of people have been talking about, they're like, hey, sometimes we need to loosen up. Sometimes we need to play a little bit more freely, like we play in scrims when there is not much on the line. BLG having an extra official game on stage is extra practice, and it's extra official practice. So they are technically min-maxing all of the games in the LPL.
Not this one, though.
Not this one.
It's already over in mid lane. They're already gone. I got to throw some hype on Knight. A triple crown winner at this point, but going for more as this is going to be BLG looking for it. Is it going to be it? He gets it. I don't know if we do nukes in League of Legends, but I know in Call of Duty they did.
No,
Might as well give one right now because that Phoenix is bombing as now Care goes down 2, gives it to him. A Penta kill for Bilibili Gaming's Knight in shining armor as they will finish their regular season in first place and dominate the LPL.
A big smile for Knight as well, as he gets his pentakill right there.
He's trying to hold it back, and then as soon as he goes for the fist bumps, he's all smiles.
He's just grinning at Care. Care just TPs in, flashes into him. He's like, yeah, there you go. There you go, King. Get your pentakill, very deserved, actually. Very deserved this game. 21 kills for Knight. Absolute domination all over the Rift, and even though I do love the curveballs that FPX are throwing in their games, and they're trying to play a very intricate game. However, when the team play has not necessarily been all that for FPX, making it even harder for yourselves by picking up compositions that are harder to execute versus a BLG that seems to be on point, makes it